So we are actually going to construct a circle graph, which kind of goes along with our histograms in stem and leaf. It's another way to display data. But good news, you do not have to do mean, median, mode, range. And it's not a variation. Another way to use circles, yesterday was circumference, right? So today, circle graphs, we have a bunch of stuff to write in the wrong direction. Yes. Okay, so it starts out on the top. Central angle is an angle whose vertex is a fancy word for point, is in the center of a circle. Does everyone see where I am? Central angle, an angle whose vertex is the center of a circle. Vertex, fancy word for point. Have you noticed math is full of these fancy words?
Yeah.
And if you put all of these central angles together, they're going to add up to a circle, which is, yeah, Maddie, 360 degrees. So if I have an angle of 15 degrees and a different angle of 30 degrees and a different angle of 45 degrees, by the time I'm done with my circle graph, they should all be 360 degrees. So we need some directions. Oh boy. Use proportions. We haven't used a proportion since January. I think we will have forgotten. Straight.
Are these like the graphs, like in the lunchroom they have like how much vegetables you should eat or like meat or something like that? Are these the type of graphs like that?
I have not seen the graph. Is it in the shape of a circle?
Yeah, and it says like the percentage of like what you should eat.
Oh, it totally is. Look at that. So probably someone in nutrition and someone in graphic design probably work together to make this circle graph, because the graphic designer, is there pictures or anything on it? Colors?
Yeah.
So they made it something you'd want to look at. Maybe not you, but eyes like color, so they're drawn to it. And the nutritionist was probably figuring out this proportion thing right here, the percent that they should eat. So I'm going to use the proportions twice to find the central angles and the percents that Drake was just talking about. I need to go on a field trip to the lunchroom to see this circle graph.
Do you know?
Not usually on the kids' side. Usually on the staff side.
Oh my gosh, Balloon Dog might need to sit around his dog.
In other situations, you'd want to use a compass to draw a circle. I happen to draw one for you, so technically we're going to skip step 2.
Should we write it down?
You can still write it down. Or sometimes you can even cheat if you don't have a compass. Like most people have a water bottle with them. You could just trace the water bottle circle.
That would be a pretty big circle.
The point is, that's okay. The point is, the circle graph that Drake's talking about probably isn't like squiggled like that, right? They use something to make a nice circle. That sure is. Then we're going to need a protractor to measure these angles.
What if we don't have
Should be one way.
I don't know.
Also, like Drake is saying, label each section. So there's probably a section that says fruit and vegetables, protein, dairy, grains. Otherwise, we don't know what we're looking at. Plus the title and anything else that's necessary. So the nutritionist on the one that Drake's talking about probably put, 40% of your food should be fruits and vegetables. I made that up, but they probably put a number in there so you knew what you were looking at. This ends up being one really big problem, basically, with pieces of information in it. So then if you look in the chart down below, there was a survey asking high schoolers about what job they had. And the first thing we should do is add up how many students were surveyed. So it said 140 worked at a restaurant. Maybe they're at Culver's or Taco Bell or McDonald's, Dairy Queen. And 15 work at a library. 60 work at an auto shop. Maybe Burnings or what's the one over by Culver's? Napa?
No,
On the corner by Culver's.
that's not there anymore.
It's not?
No,
it is there.
It moved.
No.
It's still there. What are the people on there?
Oh. Yeah, car shop. Retail would be like Target, Old Navy, Under Armour, and 30 people said something else, like maybe they're a nanny, or maybe they're pet sitting, or something like that.
They don't have a job.
Well,
Yeah.
that could be, but they were asking specifically about work. So, did anybody get a total?
Okay.
I suppose.
One thing I'll never forget, no matter how much I don't do it, is how to add.
320. 320.
320? Is that everyone saying? Yeah.
So 320 high schoolers were surveyed? Does everyone see how we're getting 320? We needed that number because the first bullet point Ellie wrote was use proportions to find the measures of the angles and the percents. Proportion, we have not done proportions for a little while. Do you remember anything about percents? Ellie, thank you so much. Out of 100, she says. So anything in this box, you have more room to write in your box, so you could put it in there. Would be percent out of 100. I know during distance learning I said that about 5,000 times. Anyone remember the other? There's another ratio over here. Part over whole. Literally all of January was spent on that. So now in each of those boxes, I'm going to have to set it up. What percent for restaurants? We don't know yet. That's what we're going to have to find out. Our percent right now is missing, so I'm going to put a variable there. What part of the high schoolers said they worked in a restaurant? What was the whole or the total group surveyed? Okay, let's just let that sit for a minute. What about the library? What percent? Don't know yet. What part? 15 out of 320. Are you writing this? Are you setting it up? It's not going to help me later. I need it to help you later. Ooh, Pete saw a pattern happening. What did he write in the next box? Missing percent out of 100. Part 60. Whole 320. Keep going. Retail. Part over 100. 75 over 360. What about the babysitters and the pet sitters? Who does not know what is going on? Savannah, the percent is what we're trying to find. So I put a variable in that percent spot the whole way down. What part of people voted for restaurants? So I took out the part, put in the 140. The whole group surveyed. So really, what changed every time? The part of the kids working the job.
How do you get the bottom number?
That was our whole total. If 250 people were asked, my bottom number would be 250. If 30 people asked, my bottom number would be 30. Okay, $1 million question. How do I solve a proportion? Drake?
You divide them, I think.
There is some dividing in it. Sophie?
Do you like cross things and multiply?
Cross product. If you came to the live classes during distance learning, I did this symbol about 10,000 times. So I would multiply in a cross. 140 times 100. Grab your calculator if you don't have it. Remember, they don't like this weather, so if one isn't behaving, try a new one. I'm supposed to do 320 times P, but I can't. So I'm going to do the opposite of times and divide. So 140 times 100, enter, divided by 320, enter. Multiply in a cross. 140 times 100, enter. Divided by 320, enter. .75% of high schoolers work at a restaurant. Repeat for library. 15 times 100. Enter. Divided by 320. Ooh, that's a silly one. 4.6875%. Let's just write what we have for now, and I'm going to tell you why. Same thing for auto shop, retail. Ooh, what if you have like a landscaping business? You'd be under the other. I've seen a lot of people offering spring cleanup right now. Ooh, retail's another silly one.
Wait, did that say 76? I got 75. Oh no, it's a 75.
It's a sloppy 7. Oh my gosh, Ellie. Allison asked about rounding, and I said let's not for now, because there's a really good way to check our work. If we add up all of our percents, they should equal, good guess, think of percents, 100. When you start rounding, it won't equal 100 anymore. So it kind of makes the checking a little bit harder. So it's a really good way to check your work. If you add up everything and you get 100, you say, yes, I got it. Did you try it?
Yeah.
Does it equal 100?
I got 81.20.
Something wrong.
I did all the same ones as you, so. No matter what, put the difference in I'm gonna 100%. So we add them up, right? We don't add anything.
Right, you just add the 5% straight down. Did you miss the next sentence?
Is the top one 42 or 43?
43.75. Moving on to degrees. Remember I said it's like one giant problem? What do we know about percents again? Out of 100. This time though, we're doing degrees. So if you have the whole circle in degrees, Drake. Yep, he said it earlier. My whole number is turning into 360. I don't know the part, that's going to be my degrees in a moment. It looks like I have two variables, but remember we just found some percent. So take the percent that you had before, over 100. I'm using D for degrees, out of 360. Can you believe this? There's like 10 tiny problems in this one big problem. How am I going to solve it, do you think? Cross product. 43.75 times 360.
And would you divide that by 100?
Good, Drake. Divide by 100. Ooh. This is going to be a big piece for restaurants. Multiply 4375 times 360. Divided by our other number. Whatever number is left out, basically, is your divide by. Preston, are you okay today?
Yeah.
You don't look like your normal self. I mean, I know you love math a lot. I got a tiny piece for our library, 16.875. That's going to be a skinny piece of the graph. Great question. When we add them all up, it should equal 360 this time, because we want the whole circle, right? So yes, that's a great way to check. Is it going to be 360 degrees?
I don't know why I didn't get it on the other one. That's weird.
I bet you just had a wrong this one. Can you believe all of that was step 1?
What?
I know. Use the proportions to find the percents and the degrees. Done.
This is our what? This is our homework.
I'm just going to do something else random.
Wait, were we not supposed to draw in this circle?
Yeah.
We're going to use it, so if you did draw on it, you can erase it. Okay. Step 2 was the part of use a compass for your circle, but I already gave you one. If you drew in it, that's fine, just erase it. Step 3, we're going to need a protractor. Hopefully my first hour left you some nearby. They're tiny. Check the blue basket.
There's only one in there. I don't have one.
What was that?
You guys have one in the back.
Where?
Why would you say that? Oh, they're one. This is the one.
Addison, did you find one, Savannah? Okay. Remember what a radius is from yesterday?
Yes. Yeah. It's half of the diameter.
Half of the diameter, halfway across, connects one spot to the middle. So we're starting with a radius. Use your straight edge. It can be anywhere. My brain likes to start over here, but you can literally draw it anywhere.
Does it matter where you start?
Nope.
Should it start in the middle?
What have to connect to the middle?
It has to connect to the middle somehow. That's the only stipulation. My brain likes it this way. And then you have to look specifically for your 0, because each protractor is different. My 0, when I have my protractor here, is on the inside. Yours might be on the outside, so look for your 0. Are you looking for it? Mm-hmm. What degrees did we put for restaurant? 157.5. So, I'm following my 0.
With the percent or
The degrees.
Oh.
0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, past 90, all the way over to 157. And then can you see this? I'm going to put like a little mark over here on where 157 would be.
That's in the middle of the
So that when I lift up my protractor, I can line up a dot and my little hash mark. And if I draw another radius, I now have a piece of my circle.
That's a huge piece.
Who needs help measuring?
I think I got it.
Yeah, it's really just an estimation as best as we can.
Didn't we put the restaurant on the inside of it?
I think you follow here.
Do we put restaurant on it?
Coins.
So your 0 just give your best estimate. You're going to
What do we do for 16.8?
Okay, you're alright?
This right.
Yeah, come on.
Really? Did you start here?
Oh, yeah, I don't want to.
So you're zero.
As you know, the biggest problem with our conversation.
Yep, you're pretty close. That's good.
I think I missed
I love
one.
people watching me bleed out. Hope you're having a good day.
Yeah.
Well, is this your driver's zero?
I know I watched it for man.
I know,
No,
but you're.
It looks so quiet without me.
This edge is about.
Put a little.
So what are we for 16 points?
I like how people labeled it right away, because if you do 2 or 3 or 4 pieces, you kind of lose track. Also, when it says other information, some people, like whoever made the lunch one, might put, okay, so they're not going to probably say 43.75%, but they might say 44% take the restaurant. It isn't going to make over, because we already know it equals exactly. Oh, I see. Okay, now this is going to be easier for you than me because your paper can turn. I highly recommend turning your paper so you don't look silly like I'm about to look. Now my 0 is over here. If you turn your paper, you don't have to turn sideways like I just did. So you have a new 0 that's the top of restaurant. This time I only need, someone help me with library.
16.875.
Okay, so 16 or 17 degrees, right? That's not very much. Skinny. And unless you're a very small writer, you might want to do this for library and point to the wedge that you're talking about.
Do we calculate this?
No.
I don't know.
If you were putting extra information, if you estimate library is 5%. And then you basically keep spinning your paper. Auto shop needs 67.5 degrees. Keep spinning your paper.
How much does it need?
67.5? 68 about? So now this is starting to look like Drake's food. One that he was talking about.
When I do it, mine's not as wide as yours. I think I have a blue one.
So then retail should be 84, I'm estimating.
I don't even think I have enough room.
And hopefully, the piece that's left is close to 34 from my other. My dog walkers, my landscapers. Give it a title, something easy like high school jobs. Like Drake and I were saying earlier, if you were presenting this to someone, they probably have pretty little pieces colored in. Because eyes like color and they would say, ooh, I wonder what this is about. I better check this out. Do you have to? No. Can you? Yeah. See, look at how beautiful that is. Everyone wants to check out my pretty circle graph, don't you?
There's so much in there.
There's a little green. That's okay. So basically that was one giant problem with a bunch of steps in it. Similar thing right here. This one is not about jobs, it's about student council votes. Neubauer, Washington, Gomez, Thompson, and Orlat.
Wait, do we only have one to do?
So it's one big problem with a couple circumference ones down below from yesterday. If you don't have your own protractor, you can still do all of the chart, right? You can do all of the chart, and then the only thing you'd have to do on Monday when you come back to school is just the measuring piece.
What's the fun part?
So don't think like, oh, I don't have a protractor, I can't do this. Yes, you can. You can do everything except the little circle measuring part, which you could do on Monday morning if you don't have your own. Print.
It's the recording.